You probably thought that this day would never come. For years, if you had spent even just 5 minutes on crypto Twitter or in the comment section of any kind of blockchain-based video, then you saw the lines in the sand. On one side, the Cardano faithful, the academic, the methodical, led by the outspoken Charles Hoskinson. And on the other side, the XRP army, fast, focused on global banking and led by technical heavyweights like David Swartz. These two groups, they didn't just disagree, they existed in very different universes. They were the oil and water of the digital asset space. But something just changed. Something quiet, calculated, and massive. Charles Hoskinson just confirmed that he is working directly with David Swartz on a project called Midnight. Now, this isn't just a casual hello at a conference. This is a deep-level technical collaboration between two of the smartest minds in the space to build a new kind of privacy layer. And if you've been holding either ADA or XRP, then you need to understand that the narrative that you've been sold for the last 5 years, the narrative of constant competition, just died. We are now entering the era of the secret success, where the biggest gains are not coming from shouting matches, but from the quiet construction of a new financial stack. So, why now? Why would these two rivals suddenly decide to build together? To understand that, we do have to look at what Midnight actually is and why David Swartz, the architect behind the XRP ledger, is the missing piece of the puzzle. Now, we are going to be looking at the secret development of Midnight, the technical hurdles that forced this alliance, and what this means for your future portfolio. This is not a story about a partnership announcement. It is a story about the end of crypto tribalism and the birth of a privacy standard that the world simply isn't ready for. To understand the weight of this news, we have to talk about Midnight. For a very long time, Midnight was just a whisper. In the Cardano ecosystem, it was described as a partner chain, a sidecar to the main Cardano blockchain. But calling it a sidechain is kind of like calling a jet engine a fan. You see, Midnight is a data protection protocol. Now think about how you might use the internet today. Every time that you buy something, every time that you sign into a website, you are leaving a little trail. In crypto, it's even worse. Everything is public. Now, if I know your wallet address, I can see every transaction that you've ever made. I can see how much you hold, who you have paid, and when you did it. Now, for a world that wants to move towards digital finance, this is a bit of a total deal breaker. No company wants their competitors to see their payroll. No person wants their neighbor to see their bank balance. Now, this is kind of where Midnight really does come in. It uses something called zero-knowledge proofs, or ZK snarks. This is a way of proving that you have a piece of information without actually revealing the information itself. It is kind of like proving that you are over 21 to enter a club without showing your birth date, or your address, or even your full name on your ID. You just simply show a proof that the criterias have been met. But building this is a bit of a nightmare, right? It's some of the most complex math on the planet. And this is kind of where the story gets very interesting. You see, Charles Hoskinson's realized that to make Midnight truly work, to kind of make it truly move assets across different chains, then it couldn't just stay inside the Cardano bubble. No, he needed a bridge. He needed someone who understood how to move value across fragmented systems better than anyone else. He needed David Swartz. Now, this is when Charles really confirmed that they were working together, right? He didn't just mention it in passing either. He praised David's technical mind. He acknowledged that Ripple has solved problems that Cardano is still grappling with, and vice versa. Right, we are seeing a realization that if crypto is going to actually win against the traditional banking system, well, the godfathers of the space, they have to stop fighting and they have to start building the plumbing. We cannot appreciate where we are going without looking at how toxic it used to be. Now, if you were around in 2020 or 2021, the Cardano and Ripple communities were at each other's throats. Now, part of this was fueled by the SEC. You see, Ripple was fighting a very much a landmark case, and the Cardano community often pointed to their regulatory clarity as a reason that why they were maybe superior. Meanwhile, of course, the XRP community looked at Cardano's slow, peer-reviewed process and called it ghostware. Now, Charles Hoskinson himself has had plenty of public spats with the XRP crowd. There were memes, there were heated live streams, and there was a genuine sense of, I guess, hostility. It kind of felt like a high school rivalry that would never really end. But while the fans were fighting in the bleachers, the coaches were actually starting to talk to each other in the locker room. So what changed, right? The stakes, they got higher. The dream of Web3 started to hit a brick wall, and that wall is called interoperability. You see, a blockchain is an island. Cardano is a beautiful, highly secure island. The XRP ledger is a fast, efficient trading island. But if you want to move your boat from one to the other, you usually have to go through a sketchy middleman or a bridge that can potentially get hacked every other week. See, David Swartz has spent a huge chunk of his career thinking about the Interledger Protocol, or ILP for short. His goal has always been to make moving money as easy as moving data. And if you can send an email from Gmail to Outlook, then you don't really think about it, do you, right? It just simply works. David wants that, but for money. Charles wants that for identity and for privacy. So when you put the two goals together, you get a vision of a future where you can hold ADA, use it to kind of power a private transaction on midnight, and have that value settle on the XRP ledger within seconds. Now, this collaboration is the first sign that the adults are back in the room. Right? They've realized that the villain isn't actually the other blockchain at all. The villain is the friction of the old banking world. Right? By working together, they are basically creating a secret success that the market hasn't fully priced in just yet, because the market is still stuck in the old memes of 2021's bull run. When we talk about direct work, what does that actually look like? I mean, in the recent updates, Charles Hoskinson has hinted at a meeting of the minds that goes beyond a simple API integration. Now, they are looking at a fundamental way that these chains actually can talk to each other. Now, Midnight, of course, is designed to be a multi-resource ledger. This is just a fancy way of saying that it can handle different types of assets and different types of privacy rules. See, some transactions might need 100% private kind of a transaction, right? Whereas others might need a backdoor for regulators, what they might call a principled privacy. Now, this is kind of where David Swartz's expertise in enterprise-grade systems is so vital. You see, Ripple has spent years talking to central banks and massive financial institutions. They know exactly what kind of privacy those institutions need. They don't want the total anonymity of Monero, but, because that kind of gets them to be shut down by the government. No, they want selective disclosure. So just imagine a bank using Midnight to settle a multi-billion-dollar trade. They need the transaction to be private so that the market doesn't front-run them. But they also need to prove to the government that they aren't laundering any money. And David Swartz understands that balance better than almost anyone else in the world. Now, we are seeing the engineering teams of input-output, Cardano's dev arm, and the thinkers over at Ripple start to actually align on these standards. Now, this isn't just about making two coins go up in price. It's about building a language that all blockchains can speak. And if Midnight can become the standard for how we handle private data, well, that is kind of built with Ripple cross-chain DNA. It becomes the glue for the entire industry. Now, you won't really care which chain you are on, because Midnight will be working in the background, protecting your data and moving your value. let's get into the why for you guys, the person who is watching this. Why should you care about a technical collaboration on a sidechain? Well, the biggest narrative for the next 2 years is not going to be DeFi or NFTs. It's real-world assets, or RWAs for short. Now, this is simply the process of putting houses, stocks, bonds, and golds on a blockchain. But here is the problem. Right, you cannot put a house on a public blockchain if it means the whole world knows exactly how much you paid, who you bank with, and what your credit score looks like, right? If we don't solve the whole privacy problem, RWA is going to be dead on arrival. Now, nobody is going to be putting their medical records or their private business contracts on a public blockchain like Ethereum or Cardano without some kind of massive shield. And Midnight is that shield. And by bringing in David Swartz, they are basically making sure that that shield has a handle that the traditional financial world could actually grab onto. Now, we are moving towards a story-first era of crypto. The story used to always be, I want to get rich quick, right? But the new story is that I want to own my own data and I want to move my own money without a gatekeeper. See, this Ripple and Cardano alliance is the most significant step towards that goal that we've seen in years. It's the secret success because it is happening while everyone else is distracted by the latest dog meme coin or celebrity-ass token. But if you want to stay ahead of all of these shifts, you want to be in a place where people are actually tracking the developments, not just the price action. And that's why we have a free educational Discord, right? It's a community where we break down these technical papers and partnership rumors in real time. Now, we don't really care about all of the hype. We care about the why, right? If you want to understand how these pieces fit together before the rest of the world catches on, then join us there. The link is in the description down below. It is the best place to keep your finger on the pulse of what is actually being built. Now, I do have to pause here for just a second to let you know that I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for entertainment and for educational purposes. Now, crypto is volatile, you may have noticed, and you could genuinely lose everything that you've invested. So it's very important that you do your own research and consult a qualified professional, because at the end of the day, your money is your responsibility. Now, this is especially true when we talk about projects in development like Midnight. Nothing is guaranteed in this space, and even the best technical minds can run into delays or failures. Always play with what you can afford to lose. Now, with all that said, let's take a look at the deep dark hole of this story, the thing that no one wants to talk about: regulation. See, for a very long time, privacy was a very dirty word in crypto. The SEC and the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, have been trying to kill privacy coins for many years. They look at things like Monero or Zcash, and they see a way for people to bypass taxes and sanctions. This is the biggest risk for Midnight. Now, if it's too private, it gets banned. If it's not private enough, nobody wants to use it. So this is a tightrope that Charles and David are walking here. They aren't trying to build a tool for the dark web. They are trying to build a tool for the compliant web. Right? This is why they call it a data protection layer instead of an anonymity kind of layer, right? It is a subtle shift in language, but it is everything. You see, David Swartz has been dealing with the SEC for years. He knows how they think. He knows where the lines are. By collaborating on Midnight, he is helping to ensure that the protocol is regulatory friendly from day one. They are building in the ability for users to share their data with specific parties, like the tax office or an auditor, while keeping it all hidden from the general public. This is the secret success. It is building the only kind of privacy that the modern world will actually allow to exist. Now, if all of this sounds like a whole lot to take in, ZK snarks, sidechains, cross-ledger protocols, don't feel bad. This is the cutting edge of computer science at the end of the day. But if you do want to be more than just a spectator, then you do have to work to understand the how. And that is why we have the Cheeky School, okay? If you go over to cheekyschool.com, you're going to find structured courses that will take you from the I don't know what a wallet is to I understand the architecture of the next financial system. Now, we don't just do the whole get rich quick BS schemes. No, we do the deep dive education, right? If you want to master the topics that we are discussing today, to really understand what Charles and David are trying to build under the hood here, then that is the place to be. Knowledge is the only real edge that you have in this market. I'm going to drop a link in the description down below. And just as an FYI, we do have free educational courses as well as a few paid for courses. So if you're looking to kind of learn how to keep yourself safe within the crypto space, or maybe do blockchain 101, Bitcoin 101, they're completely free of charge. If you're looking for more deeper dives into things like Elliott Wave or smart money concepts, well, there is a small admin charge associated, but I will drop a 50% off coupon code in the description down below for all of those paid courses. Because once you understand the technology, you do start to realize that the price of ADA or XRP is just a reflection of the utility that they provide. And right now, the utility that they are building together is massive. Now, we are talking about the backbone of a private, global, digital economy that you can either guess what's going to happen, or you can learn how the systems actually work. Let's talk about the revelation. Why is a guy like David Swartz, who is the CTO of Ripple, spending his time on a Cardano partner chain? Well, the answer actually lies in the privacy paradox. You see, most people say that they want privacy, but they aren't willing to do anything to get it. They'll trade their data for a free application or a 1% discount. But in the world of high-stakes finance, privacy isn't a luxury, it is a requirement. Now, David Swartz is a visionary. He sees that the XRP ledger is incredibly good at one thing, being a high-speed highway for value. But it is a highway that is public, and everyone can see the trucks that are driving down it. Midnight, though, is the high-security armored car that can drive on that highway. And by working with Charles, David is making sure that the XRP ledger has access to the best armored car technology in the world. This is a win-win. See, Cardano gets the bridge to the financial world that Ripple has spent a decade building. Ripple gets a privacy layer that they haven't or didn't have to build from scratch themselves. They are sharing the R&D costs of the most difficult problem in crypto. But there is a deeper layer here. It's about the surveillance state. Now, we are moving towards central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Governments want to see every penny that you spend. They want you to be, or at least they want to be able to turn off your money if they don't like what you are doing either. See, Midnight, though, if successful, is the exit ramp from that system. It's a way to use digital assets with the same privacy that you have with physical cash. The fact that the CTO of Ripple, a company often criticized for being too close to the banks, is working on a privacy chain, it tells you everything that you need to know about where they think the world is going. They know that if they do not build privacy now, the future of finance will be a digital prison. They are building the keys to the cells before the doors are even locked. We need to talk about the rising action here. What happens next? You see, the collaboration between Hoskinson and Swartz is the inciting incident, but the rising action is the actual development and deployment of Midnight. Now, we are going to start seeing Midnight wrapped assets. Imagine Midnight XRP or Midnight ADA. This would be a version of the token that you could move privately. This creates a whole new ecosystem. It's not just about Cardano or Ripple anymore. It is about a privacy hub. You see, other chains like Ethereum, Solana, or even Polkadot could eventually plug into Midnight to get those very same privacy features. Now, Charles has always talked about Cardano being the financial operating system for the world. But an operating system is useless if it doesn't have applications or it doesn't talk to other computers. By bringing David Swartz into the fold, Charles is effectively networking the Cardano operating system. He's making it compatible with the rest of the world. Now, this is the part of the story where the villain, the fragmented, siloed nature of crypto, starts to lose. Now, we've spent 10 years building these isolated silos. Now, we're finally seeing the bridges being built. And these are not the weak, hackable kind of bridges of the past. These are protocol-level integrations. This is the secret success because it is a fundamental change in how blockchains are designed. They are being designed to be open and not closed. Now, we do have to look at the other side too. Not everyone is happy about this. There are Cardano maxis who think that Charles is selling out by working with Ripple. They see Ripple as the banker's coin and worry that it will taint Cardano's mission of decentralization. But on the other side, there are the XRP maxis who think that David is just wasting his time on a project that doesn't have any users. See, these critics are missing the forest for the trees. You see, they are still fighting the coin wars of 2017. What they don't realize is that the world has changed. Here we are in 2026. No single chain is going to rule everything. It's going to be a web of interconnected chains. And if you refuse to work with others, well, you are going to become a ghost chain. Now you become the BlackBerry of the crypto world. Great technology, but totally isolated until you become completely irrelevant. Right? You'll become the Blockbusters of the world, the Nokias, the Blackberries, the Yahoos, the Ask Jeeves. The real risk really isn't selling out. The real risk is failing to scale. You see, if Cardano and Midnight specifically is just too hard to use, or if the integration with XRP is too clunky, it won't really matter how good the math actually is. Users will always choose the path of least resistance. This is the deep dark hole that we have to watch out for. Can these two massive personalities, Charles and David, actually stay aligned? They are both brilliant. They both have very strong opinions on how things should be built. And if they clash, the project might stall. But so far, the signals are incredibly positive. They are speaking the same language, the language of engineering and utility. As we come to the resolution of this story, we do have to ask, what does the world look like if they succeed? If the Ripple and Midnight development works together, then we have a world where your financial privacy is a choice and not a hope. You'll be able to use the speed and liquidity of XRP's ledger with the sophisticated private smart contracts of Midnight. This is the secret success because it's not going to happen with a giant buy signal on a chart. It is going to happen in the background. It's going to be the accept terms and conditions button on a new generation of financial applications. You won't even know that you are using Midnight. You'll just know that your transactions are fast, they are cheap, and they are private. The era of tribalism is ending because, well, it has to. The problem that we are trying to solve, global identity, private data, and frictionless value, are just simply too big for one person or one coin to actually solve alone. Now, Charles Hoskinson and David Swartz have realized that their legacy won't be one, at least the person who won the market cap race. It'll be that their legacy will be the one who built the system that replaced the old world. And by working together on Midnight, they are putting a stake in the ground. They are saying that privacy is a human right and interoperability is a technical necessity. You are simply watching the secret success unfold in real time. While the rest of the world is looking at the meme coins, the architects are building the future. The question is, are you just going to watch it happen, or are you going to understand it too? So, stay focused on the why. Join the Discord to track the progress. Go to Cheeky School to learn about the mechanics. Because in this new world, the people who understand the plumbing are the ones who will own the house. This collaboration is just the beginning. The Ripple and Midnight development is the first domino in a chain reaction that will redefine what it means to hold digital assets. The rivalry is now dead. The building has begun, and for those who are paying attention, the payoff is going to be unlike anything that we have seen before. We often talk about the warning in these videos, the warning of what happens if we do not act. Right? If we don't build these private systems, the alternative is a world of total financial surveillance. Every coffee that you buy, every donation that you make, every investment that you choose will be logged and analyzed by a central authority. Midnight, though, is a secret success because it is preemptive strike against that future. It is a tool for freedom. And the fact that it is being built by two of the most successful projects in history, it gives it a chance of actually reaching the mass market. So when you look back at this moment today, you won't remember the price of ADA or the price of XRP on the day that the news actually broke. You'll remember this day that the industry actually grew up, that it's the day that we stopped asking when Lambo and started asking how do we build a world that works for everyone. Now, we're going to keep on going here. We're going to keep a close eye on the Midnight devnets and the technical updates coming out of both Input, Output, and Ripple. This is a fast-moving story, and the how is changing every single day. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and that you've joined the community, and so you don't miss the next chapter, because the secret success is not a destination. It is a process, and we are only just getting started. To wrap this up, think about your own role in this. Are you someone who just reacts to the news, or are you someone that actually anticipates it? You see, the news of the Ripple and Cardano collaboration was kind of hidden in plain sight. Charles confirmed it, but the mainstream media barely even blinked. They were just too busy looking at the latest Bitcoin price action. But now you know. You know that the two most powerful technical teams in the space are now working on the same problem. Use this information wisely. Don't let the noise of the market distract you from the signal of the development. We are moving into a time where utility is king and privacy is the crown jewel. But now, you can do me a favor by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and checking out the video that's queued up on the screen. I'll catch you all in the next one.